Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris of the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the World Bank approves close to $40 million for Dominica's first geothermal power plant. Kempinski Resort supports model organic farm ahead of its opening later this year. And 50 calls and counting as bushfires threaten to keep firemen busy this dry season. The details of the news coming up.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, Dengue, and Chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. The Executive Board of the World Bank approves financing of Dominica's geothermal project. Dominica's ambassador to the United States and the OES, His Excellency Vince Henderson, says that package includes $17.2 million as concessionary loan from the World Bank and an additional $22 million as grant funding. The ambassador says this means government could soon move into the tendering process, select a contractor and begin construction. Ambassador Henderson, who is also coordinator of the Dominica Geothermal Energy Development Project, says the biggest challenge anticipated in a Class 1 project such as this is the social and environmental impact assessment, which he says has been done successfully.
That was done. We met all the requirements of the World Bank, including having made the document public for 120 days, open for comments, objections, of any sort. That process went through, and we now have the total approval of the project. That includes the technical design and, of course, the financial package for funding of that project.
Dominica is undertaking to build a 7-megawatt geothermal power plant, which is expected to help bring down the cost of electricity.
Dominica consumes at peak, when all of us using power, the highest level it gets to is what they refer to as 18 megawatts. So that is the peak that Dominic needs in order to supply power to all our houses, our businesses, street lighting, etc. We will be providing 7 megawatts. So we almost at half, so we're about 40% of the power that Dominic will require to generate. So that is a significant contribution to the power supply, electricity supply in Dominica. What it translates to is that the Dominica Geothermal Development Company, fully owned by the government of Dominica, will be able to provide cheaper power to Dominic. And Dominic, in turn, will sell that power to consumers. The plan is to gradually move into a situation where we will have so much power coming out of geothermal that we can drastically reduce the cost of electricity. But we expect that once we've put this 7 megawatts on the grid, and it won't be totally 7 because there will be some consumption for the actual production of the power at the site in Loda, and to move to the reinjection in Warden Waven. So we will be, in fact, supplying to them about 6.4, 6.5 megawatts. Again, it depends on what comes out once the plant is constructed. But the plan is to eventually provide more power to Dominic so we can have a bigger impact on tariff, on the cost of electricity.
Meantime, Minister for Energy Ian Douglas welcomes news that funding for construction of a 7-megawatt geothermal power plant has been approved. According to Dominica's ambassador to the United States and the OES, His Excellency Vince Henderson, the World Bank approved the funds on Friday.
I remember a couple of months ago there was a caption in one of the newspapers saying nothing is happening in the geothermal program. And I sought to assure the public and the populace that a lot of work had been going on behind the scenes. And, the usual critics and the detractors, trying to, say that nothing was happening in the program. Now we see today that the World Bank has actually approved funding, the last set of funding that we needed for the package, so we can go forward to secure the actual construction of the geothermal plant. As you heard His Excellency Dr. Henderson just elaborating with you. And that is tremendous news for us, not only in the Ministry of Trade, Energy and Employment, but also the Dominica Geothermal Development Company, who have been working very, very, very hard on this program, of course, led by the great leadership of Dr. Henderson.
Cabinet and DOMLEC's board have approved a power purchase agreement. Last month, Cabinet endorsed an agreement negotiated by DOMLEC and the Geothermal Development Company. That agreement, concluded in December, will govern the relationship between the Geothermal Development Company and DOMLEC and how consumers will benefit from that agreement. The next step will be to meet with the Independent Regulatory Commission to seek the approval of the power purchase agreement. In other news, the Roseau Fire and Ambulance Services respond to over 50 calls related to bushfires so far this dry season. Here is Andrea Louis with a report.
That's according to Public Relations Officer for the department, Wayne Later. The dry season runs from December to May and normally peaks from February into March. Later says bushfires have been prevalent on the west coast.
Roseau have responded to 55 calls. Bushfire calls? Yes. Since the beginning of the dry season, and we're talking from, well, we really had a heavy effect from February. So during the month of February we had 26, and during the month of March so far we have 27. We have 11 from the Portsmouth area, from the St. Joseph area, and also the same amount in the Marigot district.
Later pointed out that agricultural practices also play a part in the start and spread of bushfires and urged farmers to be more cognizant of the methods they employ for clearing their land and crop cultivation.
And at this time of the year, a lot of farmers are clearing land for cultivation. And we are used to what we call the slash and burn method of clearing land, where we simply go on any holding, we cut down the trees, the grass, everything, and set it alight. We are used to that. But this is one of the practices that we are asking persons to move away from. Because what you will find happening is that fire may well get out of control. Instead, we are asking persons to cut the brush and whatever the trees, compile it, and then burn in small heaps. In that way, you limit the spread.
Later says the Fire and Ambulance Services is proactive in its bushfire fighting methods, and this has helped reduce the extent of damage which could have otherwise resulted from bushfires.
One of the things the fire service have done in the past, and we continue to do it this year, is that of the pre-burning. It's a method that we have used in the past, and we still continue to use it, where we locate those type of areas, those hotspots, and we go, and before they catch a light, we set the fires to it, we monitor it, and ensure that it burns the area. What that does, it is reduced the amount of fuel available for any fire. And pre-burning and counter-burning, these are two methods that you could use to actually control brush fires. So it's basically reducing the amount of fuel available.
Manager of Triple K International is welcoming the additional regional and international attention being placed on bouillon music this year. Geoffrey Joseph, who manages Triple K International, says the work of Dominican music producer Krishna Dada Lawrence in creating the song Famale, which won Road March in Trinidad's Carnival this year, has brought a new level of interest and attention to the bouillon genre.
Because of that combination, the production of Dada with International Steven and Marshall and the other guys, with that combination, it has opened the eyes to a lot more people. You understand? The reach that these guys have is far greater than what we have as locals. And the fact that these artists recognize that the production is really a bouillon production, And right now that they have been letting the world know that, yo, this song there is a Booyah song. You understand? With a soca flavor, obviously, because it's their own style, you know, their own type of writing, everything like that. But it's primarily a Booyah song. And people are now recognizing that.
Also this year, Triple K International won the first ever People's Choice Bouillon Road March. Joseph says this award will help bring greater recognition to bouillon music.
There were people who knew bouillon music before and accepted it, but right now there are a lot more people looking at bouillon music, and the fact now that there is something that they can recognize as what is, if you want to call it, the gold standard, at least for this year. That's something that the international market can look towards. So they say, okay, there's this genre called bouillon music, we're now learning about it. What is the plateau, if you want to call it, of that bouillon music? And then they will look towards the productions that we have. And then obviously it's going to open roads for the other producers and the other performers and artists and bands and so on within the genre. So I think it's a very good move. It's something that we can take internationally, something that we can showcase to the world.
Joseph applauded the many initiatives being taken to sustain and promote the bouillon genre.
We also have the bouillon monarch queen, Carlin XP, who has her own style, and that is something again that we can package together and push out there as a product of Dominica, you know what I mean? So I think all in all these different initiatives surrounding bouillon music is very, very, very good. And we just want to encourage the persons to keep on supporting bouillon music, keep on supporting Dominica's music, because without the support of the people, the masses, and also the corporate community, I don't think we will be able to achieve all what we have been doing, and I don't think even our aspirations will be able to be achieved if they don't continue to support us in such meaningful ways.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You'll expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
Dominicans encouraged to take stock of the level of development taking place in the country. Ambassador Vince Henderson spoke Tuesday about the impact of a tour he was given of what will be the new Jungle Bay Resort and Spa in the Monacuma in Soufriere.
Dominica is on the move. I saw and I had the privilege of receiving a tour by the developer himself, Sam Raphael, great gentleman. And let me tell you, man, I think Dominicans need to go out there and see what is happening in Dominica. And the fact that this is made possible because of the Citizenship by Investment program. I mean, this is going to be an amazing facility. We need to talk about that sometime because I think this is something we need to celebrate. It is not completed yet, but we expect by June or July they will open the first phase. And I'm really looking forward to that because this is definitely going to put Dominica on the map. I think it's an excellent project. The concept, the passion behind it, the thinking behind it, and the fact that it is being financed. It's being financed by our Citizenship by Investment program. I had a gentleman with me who was based in Dubai, and he visited that site. And you know what he said to me? He said to me, this is something we need to show the world. Let people see the Citizenship by Investment monies at work. And while I don't like to do the comparison with our neighbors, but he was saying, but your Citizenship by Investment program is actually working. You're doing real stuff for your people. Projects are really happening. Every project that you have approved seems to be happening.
The ambassador says he has also visited the Anichi Resort in Picard, Kempinski in Cabritz, the Hilton in Salisbury, and the Bellevue Chopin Housing Resettlement Project.
It's just amazing what is going on in the country. I think we need to spend some time, talking a little more about that and encouraging people to visit these places that they too can see. It is one thing to talk about it, but it is just a whole amazing experience just going out there and seeing it yourself.
A model organic farm to supply a five-star resort in the north is being spearheaded by a local investment and hospitality company. Here again is Andrea Louis.
The Cabriz Resort and Spa Kempinski is well on the way to opening its doors to visitors by October this year. Work is steady at the site to reach a target date for the opening of the first phase of the facility. Apart from ensuring all goes well in the construction of the buildings, the resort management is taking steps to ensure that all goes well for the food that will be consumed by its guests. Development Director of Range Developments, Kamal Shihada, says the tests conducted by the company show that work needs to be done on reducing the level of chemicals in the fruits and vegetables being supplied to the resort.
Unfortunately, and here I call any responsible people who are responsible for testing the fruits and vegetables produced in Dominica. It contains a lot of chemical, more than what allowable standards by health organization, much more. So all, mainly, I want to say all, but majority was rejected by Kempinski because Kempinski is a five-star hotel and they work to the international standards. They have liabilities to, otherwise it will be a big problem for them. So instead of importing everything, we decided to go with these people who want to work, and I can make it open. Anybody who is willing to work, especially in this agriculture, we are willing to support.
Shihada hopes to see other farms incorporate more organic practices into their cultivation methods to improve the quality of produce being offered to tourists. He says the model organic farm in Syndicate is among the many projects supported by the resort to help develop entrepreneurship in the country.
One of them is creating an organic farm, helping also couple. We don't do anything for our own. We help others who really want to work and they are just looking for support. We support them, but if they don't want to work, we don't do it for them. So a couple who started in Syndicate, about 7 acres, we are working with them to create a model farm actually that will be only to produce fruits and vegetables, organic fruits and vegetables, but also to be like training centers for other, or teaching even for school kids, because they are very, very well educated young couples and eager to work. You know, they are sleeping there in a small tent but working day and night.
Shihada says the resort would not only focus on the fruits and vegetable aspect of food consumption, but will give assistance to other areas of food production.
There is a guy who's will be doing a shrimp farm here, and same problem is finance. Banks are not giving money to these entrepreneurs, so I'm studying it to go with them so we can be self-sufficient with shrimps here instead of importing all material.
When complete, the Kempinski Resort and Spa will house a multitude of buildings and facilities, including a spa, a presidential suite, 100 guest rooms, and a kids club. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And the first in a series of reparations advocacy training workshops organized by the CARICOM Reparations Commission has been held in Guyana. The workshops are being conducted in collaboration with the CARICOM Secretariat and the Center for Reparations Research, CRR, Mona. The members of ICAMBA, a Guyana-based youth and advocacy organization for reparations, were the main participants in the capacity-building workshop to prepare the group for national and regional outreach to other youth on reparations. The training was facilitated by Caribbean historian and director of the Center for Reparations Research, Professor Vereen Shepherd, international human rights attorney, and assistant researcher at the CRR, Ms. Jody Anquari, as well as chairman of the Guyana Reparations Committee and University of Guyana lecturer, Eric Phillips. The sessions focused on the legal case for reparation, the ideology of racism and its impact on culture, capitalism and enslavement in the Caribbean, and the implications and opportunities of the International Decade of People of African Descent, among other areas.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are,
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evo.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, Dengue, and Chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. The World Bank approves $40 million for Dominica's first geothermal power plant. Kempinski Resort supports a model organic farm ahead of its opening later this year. And 50 calls and counting as bushfires threaten to keep firemen busy this dry season. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.